So 1 term or 2 term?
Of course, 1 term. Every day.
Anytime.
Anywhere. A term is enough. I want Kenyans to know that what happened in Mary North, if that is how we are going to conduct elections in 2027, then we won't have a country. As people from Nyanza, we believe on something called Juogi.
Yes.
It just lands on you. You don't decide or you don't dictate, and you cannot purchase it. It doesn't have a price. Juogi lands gradually. And Babu is a part of, is amongst the people in that line, succession line, that Juogi can decide to land on. If it lands on Ken Babu, I will lead the agenda. I will lead the region and take it to Canaan. I'll be vying in Nairobi County.
Yes.
I'll be vying in Nairobi County.
So surprise, guys. Today, after analysis, I got a call from the one and only Joint National Youth Leader, Senator Ken Babu, a good friend of mine. We've been on several political functions with him. Na leo amesema anatutembelea studio. Karibu sana, Senator Ken Babu.
Asante sana, my brother.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. It's good. It feels good to be here.
Yes.
And I believe that we are going to have a conversation that can inspire, re-energize, and of course push an agenda that can transform this nation.
For sure.
Yeah.
So 1 term or 2 term?
Of course, 1 term. Every day.
Anytime.
Anywhere. A term is enough for a gentleman.
Yes. Unaonja kidogo, you give others space.
Of course.
So many people have been seeing Ken Babu on this channel. They've been seeing him in Mbeere North, where doing a lot of things, a lot of good work. Let's start off with, who is Ken Babu?
Thank you so much. Just like we mentioned, my name is Ken Babu.
Yes.
And I sit in as a youth chairperson of the United Opposition. United Opposition is a collection of different political parties that have come into an agreement that they need to offer alternative leadership to what the Kenya Kwanza regime is actually offering to Kenyans. And I come from Kisumu County. That is my birthplace. Sorry. And I'll be vying in Nairobi County.
Yes.
I'll be vying in Nairobi County.
Which area, if you dare to indulge us?
I'm looking at slightly a bigger position.
Yes.
But I would say that there's no position bigger when it's about service delivery and leadership.
Yes.
So when the right time comes, possibly early next year,
yes,
we shall launch our bid and engage Kenyans, specifically the Nairobians, and see how far we can go, and the opportunities that can come within, and of course engage and see what is needed on the ground as far as alternative leadership is concerned. Yeah.
That is good, bro. Knowing you personally, I know what you're capable of. Kenyans will soon discover wale ambao hawajajua Ken Babu. Unajua mmesikia Babu Owino, there is another Babu. Mnasikianga there is another one, he's here. So now let's delve into the politics of the day. We have seen that our president is in America, meeting with Trump and Tshisekedi and his counterpart from Rwanda. Yeah. But as he is there, I've noticed always when he is there is something happening here. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed that Safaricom is offloading 15% government stake to Vodacom. What do you feel could be happening there?
You know, there's something that happens in this country that Kenyans need to know. And we need to make it in black and white so that each and every person in this country get to understand the kind of leadership we are dealing with. William Ruto is one man that has survived in different ways to reach where he is. And part of those ways are ways in which he transacts business in a way that he gives you the right hand and takes the left hand. So when you talk about Safaricom offloading about 15% shares to Vodacom, chances and possibilities are that he's giving out with the right hand, and on the back end of it is the one actually buying the shares. Before you know it, Safaricom might be an individual owned company.
So you're saying on the other side of this transaction, as Safaricom is offloading to Vodacom, we need to be asking who shareholder in Vodacom?
Definitely.
Is there a chance we'll see the same names?
We need to scrutinize. Yes. We need to scrutinize Vodacom seriously,
yes,
and get to know who actually is buying these shares.
Yes.
And what informed the sale of the shares, and to what extent is the president's influence is in the transactions and everything that's happening. Because we won't be surprised to realize that on the other side, maybe the people who are purchasing the shares are lieutenants or something. We cannot write it off, because we've seen such scenarios happen before.
Yes.
So yeah, we need to look at it, and we need to focus on much on the other side of transaction. Who is there? We already know that Safaricom is offloading.
Yes.
But now the question and concern is to who?
That is a very
Vodacom might just be
the
face.
Yes.
But I mean, Vodacom is a mask. But there is a face behind the mask.
Yes.
Which we need to know as a country. Yeah.
So that aside, I've seen you very active in Mbeere North. I've seen you with Karish.
Yeah.
I've seen you in Malava. You've been here and there. We have a very interesting candidate in Malava who was trending recently. Jamaa alikuwa anasema wacha Wanandi wachukue kila kitu. Wachukue bibi zetu kila kitu. What can you say about this candidate? Alidhulumiwa, or was he the wrong candidate? Because that kind of giving up, I've never seen it personally.
The night preceding the elections,
yes,
Seth Panyako was seriously humiliated. His home was attacked. Some of his aides were brutally attacked. Some were stabbed. Like, he was so much traumatized.
Yes.
And he almost even lost his life. So the fellow was undergoing so much pressure and traumatization. And then when he walked to the polling station, he noted that there was some malice games that are already happening. And upon reporting to the relevant authorities who are around there, including the police, they were looking at him like they don't understand what he's saying. And it's at that point that he busted out and tried to report the police station, and nobody was giving him that attention that needs to be, the issue needs to be addressed. It's at that point that he gave up and said, no, okay, if this is the kind of regime that we have, it's the kind of the way these people want to run the country, then let everything go to that other side. But I would also say that he ought to have just relaxed and keep encouraging his supporters to turn out and vote. Because I want to tell you, as a politician, that action that he took that early in the morning resulted or affected the number of votes that were casted for him.
Yes.
Because of course, there are people who are still looking at where will we cast our vote. But seeing a candidate who is part of the options declaring that he has given up that early communicates something different. Yeah.
Okay, so the outburst, many don't understand how we got there, but there are certain events which took place.
Definitely. There are certain. There's a clip of one guy with a big belly who was stripped naked and beaten thoroughly, and he confessed that he was amongst the people who were sent to ensure that things were not going in accordance with the law. That was just one person, but we are told and we are informed by the source on the ground that there were many people.
Yes.
And some of them are the people who took part in frustration and attacking the home of DAPK and the United Opposition candidate Seth Panyako.
Yes.
So for him, by the time he was now bursting out and doing all that, he had gone through a lot of traumatization, pressure, and to him maybe that was the end, because these guys were even ready to kill him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's justified. Panyako mahali huko, the Joint National Youth Leaders explained your situation. Lakini mimi hiyo wachia Wanandi kila kitu.
You see, that's why I said in as much as things were getting rough and tough for him.
Yes.
He ought not to have mentioned that, because it discourages some voters.
Because they're looking to you for strength.
Definitely. People are looking at you as a source of strength. But then they realize that you've given up and you are saying that the other side should take it. So they are also, they are remaining, they are having many questions. So, okay, what next?
Yes.
If you vote this guy and he's already crying, what are you going to do? So we agree that you went through a lot, but that outburst and reaction shouldn't have happened. It really interfered with the number of turnouts.
Yes.
To some extent.
Well put.
Yeah.
Now, let me take you a little bit back to our favorite party, ile ambayo imechangia sana kwa siasa ya Kenya. It's called ODM. We have lost one of the enigmas, Baba himself. Now, in the succession politics of ODM, personally, I feel they got it wrong by not going for the younger youths, people who can give 30, 40 years of service. But that aside, assuming, because there will come a day Oburu will not be there, he might decide, let me take a break, I let the younger people take over. Who do you feel can fill those boots?
Well, first, before I jump into that,
yes.
You had asked something about Mbeere North.
Yes.
And the Karis situation. I personally was in Mbeere North with the DCP party leader, Rigathi Gachagua, and a team of other young leaders, MCAs, MPs. We were there with Senator Methu, we were there with Mukunji Gitonga, we were there with Wanjiku Muhia, many other MPs. And I want to tell you that, and I want Kenyans to know, that what happened in Mbeere North, if that is how we are going to conduct elections in 2027, then we won't have a country. We will know we are likely to lose this country.
So you're saying it was that bad?
If we are going to conduct elections in that way, in the way Mbeere was managed or handled,
yes,
then we are treading in a very bad path. And that is something that IBC has a responsibility to respond to Kenyans and give their position, their state position statement on what happened in Mbeere North. Because it is in law that a public servant, more so in the capacity of a CS, should not participate in an electoral process. And I mean, you can vote, but after voting, you need to go home. But what we saw with the CS Geoffrey Ruku is so unfortunate. He took over a polling station, Gitibiru polling station, and beat up agents of Karis and took over the counting of the voting there. And it's at that polling station that Wamudende won the elections. So if that's how we are going to run the 2027 elections, then we are going to be in a big trouble, because the truth of the matter is Mbereans, the people of Mbeere, did not vote for the UDA candidate.
Yes.
And even if you go to the ground today, they will tell you that we voted against this guy. We voted for Karis. Hata sisi hatuelewi how this guy got the winning vote. But we want to put IBC on record. IBC has a responsibility to ensure that the elections are free, transparent, justifiable, and they have to ensure that election acts and guidelines are followed to the letter. There is nobody who's bigger than the other in this country. We are all inclusively engaged as Kenyans. So IBC must take actions on the irregularities that were experienced, were witnessed in Mbeere North, Malava, and all other parts of the country where by-elections were done. Because if we don't address those small issues, they will pile up and they are going to be a serious problem in 2027.
Yes. I concur.
And then of course the issue of voter bribery.
Yes.
And voter suppression.
Niliona your Facebook post ukisema, no, you are at K24, was it?
And
that you can't find a change for 1,000.
Yeah. At that time you could not get that balance. I mean, everybody was having 1,000 shillings, not courtesy of the government. You see, the Kenya Kwanza, the president and the UDA party wanted to prove a point that they still have the ground and they are popular. They have the UDA party's popular party, so they spent up to the last coin. Get that? And that is part of the reason why campaign financing bill should be enacted and implemented, so that if you are running, you make it public that your budget is 10 million and you communicate the source of that 10 million and how you're going to spend it.
Yeah, you can say Wafula gave you 10 bob.
Definitely.
This one 5.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Campaign financing is a very critical issue, so that we eliminate these issues where somebody runs for an MP and spends 400 million for a seat that will earn him 1.2 million at most per month. Even if you are to serve for 60 months, you cannot amount to even 100 million.
So they are going to steal to recover.
So that is why that's where they get in forcefully and misuse and mismanage the CDF which they have refused to relinquish, despite the fact that according to the law, the member of parliament should not even know where the CDF office is in the first place.
Yes.
And Raila Odinga, the late, was clear on that. So we have to enact and we have to push the Campaign Financing Act to be implemented to the latter. And that also falls back to IBC. It must be implemented to the latter. Number 2, we must ensure that political parties, a lot of things happened, by the way, in these by-elections. And it communicated a big gap between the people, reality, and political parties. Political parties play a critical role when it comes to candidate identification. Yes. And our system of politics, we do party popularity politics. And then we get into personality politics. Now, you heard His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua say that DCP did not have a candidate in Mbeere North. He was right. Gachagua was in Mbeere North to campaign for a DP party candidate in the spirit of united opposition. But when, unfortunately, the candidate lost, the wars were directed to Gachagua, not the DP party leader, Justin Muturi.
Yes.
So Gachagua was asking, I didn't have a candidate I didn't have DCP candidate in Mbeere.
Yeah.
You get that?
Nimekuja kusaidia.
If you look at the turnout in Kasipul for Boyd Were, people turned out in numbers because they believe and they still feel the popularity of ODM party. Yes. Get that? So party popularity is very critical in marshalling voters to turn out and vote. And political parties must ensure that at the end of the day, you give a ticket to the candidate who is in good relation with the ground, so that you don't spend much selling the candidate.
Yes.
You see, if Wamudende was not a UDA candidate, he couldn't have even become number 5 in that election. Because you are a journalist and you interact with news daily and you synthesize, you analyze. Tell me, is there anywhere you ever saw a video clip of UDA candidates in Mbeere North campaigning?
Never.
Or talking?
Never.
The guy never spoke. The guy never talked anywhere. It was the responsibility of his PA, the deputy president, to do the talking and ask for votes as if, in fact, if you mention that phrase of Wamudende ni fire, see fire, people don't see the candidate, people see the deputy president.
Yes.
That is the face that comes that's the picture that comes into your face. Wamudende ni fire, what do you see? You just see Kindiki.
Yes.
Because the candidate was nowhere. It's Kindiki was running.
So Kindiki was carrying him in his pocket.
Definitely, all through. Now back to the ODM succession.
Yes.
ODM was built out of many things. And amongst them, top of it is a fight for democratic space.
Yes.
And the rule of law. That was the beliefs of Raila. Those are the beliefs of Raila. But upon his demise, unfortunately, which came at a time that nobody expected. In fact, us growing up, we had never thought that one day we will be in this country without Raila Odinga.
Yes.
As young as I am, I always believed that I will die and leave him here. Because I'm telling you, sisi tuliambiwa huyu jamaa hawezi kufa bwana.
Told he's a spirit.
This guy is a spirit. Atageuka fly apite aende.
Yes.
If enemies are coming, he will turn into something different and disappear. So we never imagined at any point we will be in this country without Raila. Unfortunately, it happened. But that was the time for the ODM leadership to take back that mantle to the young generation.
Yes.
That can propel the party up to the next 30, 40 years. And if that could have happened, I'm telling you, many young people could have found an energy to join the party again. That. Unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. But you've had different quarters pushing for NDC, the faction of Winnie Odinga pushing for NDC. We had people like Akina Ruth also taking their own versions, and Sefuna faction, Babu faction. You see, everybody is trying to find the best way to deal with this issue of ODM. But from where I sit, I still believe that if it was relinquished into the hands of fresh and younger generation, it could have been more energetic na ingekaa hata for 30 years.
Yes.
But with the current situation and current setup, we might unfortunately, it might go down. It might go the Ford Kenya way.
Wow.
Yeah, it might go the Ford Kenya way. You know, when Jaramogi died in 94,
Yes.
Ford was the Ford. Ford Kenya was Ford. It was the party until people could not agree on the way forward to ensure that the party still remains strong. And that's how Raila ditched the party and moved out and formed his own kiosk, and things went south, and Ford Kenya remains today a Bungoma party. In fact, a Chwele Kabuchai party, and recently it was swept out of Chwele. So it is it's a party for the speaker. So Ford Kenya has been reduced to Moses Wetangula's family party.
Yes.
That's it.
Wow. So that is how we see ODM playing out in the near future if they don't put their house in order.
Definitely.
Okay.
Then on the issue of Kingpin and all that succession in Nyanza, people are coming up. We've seen different people turning up and saying that it is now our time to lead the region, and we can negotiate on behalf of the region. But now you see, as people from Nyanza, we believe on something called Juogi.
Yes.
It just lands on you. You don't decide or you don't dictate, and you cannot purchase it. It doesn't have a price.
Do you feel Babu Wino has Juogi?
Yeah, Juogi lands gradually, and Babu is is amongst the people in that line, succession line, that Juogi can decide to land on. Yeah, of course. You know when Jaramogi died, and I keep referring to this history. Raila was a member of parliament then, Langata, because he came in 92. Then Jaramogi dies in 94. He was 2 years in parliament. And nobody imagined that Raila would fit into the shoes of Jaramogi. Hear that? Yes. Despite the fact that he had already started pushing and taking up space, until Juogi now decided now to land on him, because he was on the highway to take over the region, and somebody like Babu Wino is on the highway.
So it is a gradual thing.
It's a gradual thing.
But dalili ni kama
Babu Wino is on the highway.
Yes.
And if Juogi lands on him, the region will have to bow down and follow to that direction. And we've seen many people coming up. You know, there's a historical, there's so much history that we need to go back and look into. When Jaramogi was there, and that was central Nyanza, Kisumu, Siaya, and then we had South Nyanza, Homa Bay and Migori. Jaramogi was being detained while there were powerful people, powerful men and women in government who came from South Nyanza, and they didn't bother. So that's why when you hear, in fact, right now we are having some online battles between person A and person B. Person A is a real son of South Nyanza, and person B is a daughter of Central Nyanza from Kisumu. Get that?
Yes.
I don't know if you get me.
I get you.
You get me? Person A is a son of the soil from South Nyanza, and person B is a daughter of the soil from Kisumu, Central Nyanza. And this if as a student of history, if you date back to the 90s and 80s, you get to understand the differences of South and Central. They are now reimagining again. Get that? But person A is a grandson to one of the big men in South Nyanza at the time when Jaramogi was being exchanged from one prison to another. And then you see, so the Nyanza question right now is flat. Like, nobody can still claim that they are giving direction on behalf of the community as of now. People are going to gamble kidogo, but then I'm certain that we are going to get direction, but it will take some little time.
Yes.
Because Raila's spirit is still hovering around, also trying to figure out where it can land. If it lands on Ken Babu, I will lead the region and take it to Canaan.
Yes. I like the energy. So, Senator Ken Babu, there's something peculiar I've seen in the country that I think I would want you to talk about. We have seen political activities rightfully being planned, and in the middle of those activities, goons are coming into the picture. We have seen goons in Kariobangi now, in Kariobangi North, wametupa tear gas. We have seen goons in Malava, as you have said, they were wanadhulumu Panyako and so on. Where did the rain start beating us? Because I've seen Kipchumba Murkomen saying that he will deal with goons. But Gachagua is saying this is the main goon, saying he'll deal with his friends. So how do you take that issue?
There is what we call Goonification of Politics.
Yes.
And the government is heavily investing in that.
Mm.
I mean, who in his own capacity has the resources to fund goons? Nobody has that kind of resources to fund. I mean, do you know how expensive is it is to stage a war during an electoral process? It's very expensive, very, very expensive. So who has the capacity to put such an action?
The state.
The state that has all the resources and everything to actually fund the goons, feed the goons, and dispatch the goons. So I agree with Gachagua. The person saying that he wants to deal with the goons should first tell us why is he funding the goons.
Yes.
Why do you want to deal with people? You can just summon and say stop whatever it is. Because I don't understand why a tear gas would be thrown in a church, inside the church. I don't understand why. I don't get it. Why would a tear gas canister be thrown in a Sunday school setup where children are studying? Are getting lessons. I don't understand why we must have tensions in our campaigns. What happened in Narok? If Gachagua was just going there to talk and go home, at the end of the day, he was going to leave that place. Whatever he says, it's up to the people of Narok to decide to listen and follow
or not to listen. Yes.
There is no need of putting pressure and tear gassing people left, right. You know that? If today we went for a rally at the CBD and the government is not in agreement with what you are doing, the best the government can do is to provide security. Let us talk with the people and go home. Then they are certain that at the end of the day, the sun will go down and we'll just go home. There's nothing much you can do about it. So this character of goonifying situations and goonification of politics must stop, and it is heavily invested on by the state. Why? If I had some people saying that Gachagua is the one funding goons and causing chaos and everything. If Gachagua is the one funding goons, then who was funding goons that were attacking Raila?
Mm.
And that was at that time Ruto was not a president in 2017, 2018. Get that?
Yes.
It was the state. Who was funding goons that attacked Raila in 2023 during cost of living protests? It was the state. Now Gachagua is also being attacked, and now people are saying that he's the one funding. How do you fund people to attack you?
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And who has the capacity to actually fund, feed, and dispatch those goons? It's the state. So it's the state that is fighting against its people, and again coming out to say that we are going to deal with those. Those goons. Kipchumba Murkomen just need to make a simple statement and say, Kenyans, we apologize for having dispatched goons, and we will not do it again.
So you're saying he should own the goons and apologize for dispatching his goons?
Definitely.
Kwa hivyo ume conclude ni Murkomen?
No, it's the state. So if it's Murkomen, it's better, sour, but it's the state. And Murkomen is part of the setup of the state as it is today.
And do you think the CS of Interior is a little bit, there's a bit of regional targeting? Because in the last protest of the finance bill, I saw him saying that goons are coming from Thika Road and Githurai.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that is right? Do you think that speech is okay for CS to be saying that when Kenyans are watching and he's supposed to be serving the whole nation? You
see, a lot has happened when it comes to fights and all these tribal clashes. That we must come out clearly as young people and put a stop to it. We have to put a stop to it. Murkomen is fairly a young person.
Yes. We
must put a stop to it. Because you saw the report, the statement that was released by Mushiri, I think the police spokesperson. And he highlighted everybody, saying that all those people who attacked the Sunday service at Kariobangi North were Luos. Yes. And purporting, in their mindset, everybody who was attending that church service was a Kikuyu. So what are they saying? On that Sunday, it was a war between Luos and Kikuyus. That is the communication. Because if you are saying that people who attacked the church and threw tear gas were Luos, and people who were in the church who are worshipping were Kikuyus, and they clashed. So what are you saying? That Luos and Kikuyus are fighting, which is not true.
It's not true. It's just leaders organizing some goons.
Definitely. That is a very dangerous statement.
And police are painting a picture.
That is very dangerous. It is very dangerous to come from high-ranking police officer. Because if we go that direction, we are going to ban the entire country. Tribal wars, tribal cultures are not simple war. Because I keep asking myself, if you want to tell me that Kikuyus are bad, point for me, which Kikuyu are you talking about? Because in my contact list, I have Kikuyu friends. My personal lawyer is a Kikuyu. And the fellow serves me very well without even caring whether I'm a Luo or not. Get that?
Yes.
I have colleagues, I have business associates who are Kikuyus. So which Kikuyu exactly are you talking about to be bad? Get that? I went to Nyeri. In Nyeri town, when I took to the podium to speak, I was surprised that Luos are in Nyeri. And when they heard that I come from Kisumu, they actually shouted back in Luo, in my mother tongue. And they are coexisting in Nyeri. They are living very well. Same case in Embu, Muranga. So I'm asking, which Kikuyu is bad? And then if Kikuyus feel that Luos are bad, they also need to tell us, which Luo exactly are you referring to? Because me, I coexist with them, and none of them has ever told me that you are a Luo and you are bad. Get me? Or you are a Luo and we hate you. So when a police officer in that level of ranking comes out and says that it was a war, tries to paint a picture of a war between Kikuyus and Luos, it is very bad. It is very irresponsible. And it is very absurd and satanic. A country cannot be led in that way. And then if you look at the statement that Murkomen gave on the issue of Githurai and Thika, it was a communication that goons were coming from the Kikuyu land into the CBD to destroy properties, which is not true. When the Gen Zs were demonstrating, to some extent, there was target arrests. Community targets. And I came out clearly and I issued a statement. When Kawanjiru, then the youth leader of DCP in Kiambu at that time, was brutally arrested. When Wanjiku Thiga was abducted, we came out and issued a statement. And we want the regime to stop community target arrests. The Gen Z revolution was not a Kikuyu issue. Neither was it a Luo or a Kalenjin issue. It was an issue centered around the governance of the state, which touched on almost all young people. And the things we were asking for did not matter whether you are a Kikuyu or not. So when they started arresting young men and young women from the mountain, we had to come out clearly and tell them that if you want to arrest the youth, go and wait in the streets. They will be there. Arrest everybody. Hii mambo ya kusema ati huyu ni no. We want them, and those arrests came down. It reduced until at point that they were no longer arresting people. Unfortunately, we lost lives, which we are hoping that compensation, whatever committee, will address and deal with it. But we must always be reminded that if you, David, you are being attacked, you are not being attacked because you are a lawyer. The person is not being attacked because they are Kikuyu. The government is attacking you because maybe what you are pushing for, they are the ones who are benefiting from that problem. So if you want to solve that problem, they get uncomfortable.
Yes.
Get that? So we must agree that if one person is injured, we are all injured. And the youth can do that better. Me, I've been in the forefront of advocating for strategic inclusion of young people in decision making.
Yes.
So that the youth can also be accountable and have responsibilities when the country is going down or the country is progressing. Get that?
Yes.
And I keep saying that if President William Ruto is living a good future today, that is what he prepared for 30 years ago. And if by any chance he's living a bad future and he's regretting it equally, that is what he prepared for. Yes. So we as a young people and a generation, we must identify what we want to live, the kind of life we want to live 30 years from now. And if that life will be good, that shall have been what we fought for. And if we are going to regret, we have prepared that regret today.
But at least we'll have had our hand in it.
Definitely. Yes. So we must narrow down and ensure that we are having issue-based politics. And that is what I keep saying. We agree that William Ruto should be a one-term president. And there's a faction that says that he should be a two-term. We must be, as young people, we must be in a position to sit down on the table. One term, two term. Why do you want him to be a one term? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why do you want him to be two term? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we compare and agree. If two term has weight, we cross the floor. If one term has weight, we cross the floor. Because we must always be reminded that if this country was to fail, we stand bigger chances to suffer the consequences than the people in leadership today. Yes. Number one, they've acquired resources. They can fly out of the country anytime. Number two, some of them have age is catching up with them. They are not even certain if they will be there in the next 10 years. So somebody is just living on bonus and just hanging around, hoping that he or she will see tomorrow. So if these are the people who are going to leave the country in their hands, unfortunately. And as I land on that, they say that, we were also young people, we were youth, sometimes age will catch up with you. We agree. We are not denying that. But what they must know is the fact that whatever an old man denies a young person has an opportunity to work hard and achieve. But whatever a young man denies an old fellow, you will go to your grave without achieving that stuff because age will not allow you. Yes.
You need the strength of the younger generation.
Definitely. And going into 2027, by the way, we are the convention must change. And this time round, tuko na wazee nyuma yetu.
Sisi tunaongoza.
Yeah, for the longest time we've been told that vijana wazee wako na vijana nyuma yao. No, this time round sisi
hiyo ndo ile politics ya tuoli. Tutaonyesha njia.
Tumeonyeshwa njia. Tulionyeshwa njia tangu enzi za Kibaki. Kibaki akatupea free primary education. Akatuongeza free secondary education. Tukaingia pale universities 100% entry Uhuru Kenyatta. Tukaingia transition. Akatupea kazi kidogo. William Ruto amekuja amefanya mambo yake. So sahi we have been built enough. The capacity has been built enough for that to an extent that we can offer leadership. So going forward, tuko na wazee wapi?
Nyuma.
Tuko na wazee nyuma yetu.
And by the way, now that we've talked about Atuoli, his MCA ni wa DCP.
Of course. Sasa anaweza enda ongee nani ni shenzi?
Yeye ndo shenzi
sasa. Kati ya yeye na watu wa Kisa East, nani ni shenzi?
Niliona Malala akisema akitaka basari aende kwa MCA wa DCP.
Aende kwa MCA wa DCP pale na MCA amwambia ongea na Gachagua kwanza.
Ongea na Gachagua.
Aone kama mambo yake itafuatiliwa vizuri.
Now as we conclude, Senator Ken, there's an issue which I personally didn't like. I've seen the passing of Raila Odinga. We all know it. It's been documented. Shortly after, his small sister, who is 2 years younger, Beryl Odinga, also passed. In the middle of the funeral proceedings, her daughter also passed. And I saw one shifty fellow, sitamtaja jina, from Bunge la Wananchi, akisema that Raila is not happy. And that is why you are seeing people are passing. Is this nonsense? Is there something happening there?
No, there's nothing about him being happy or unhappy. What I would say is Raila had lived his life to the fullest. I would say so, because he had achieved a lot in his capacity. And may his soul rest in peace. Beryl equally fairly lived well. 78 years is not a joke.
It's not a joke.
With the kind of the lives we are living in this world today, clocking 78 is a joke. May I will give it to God that there is always time of entry and time of exit. And one thing you are sure about is that you will die.
You just don't know the time.
You don't know the time.
Yes.
You cannot dictate if you couldn't dictate if you could be born or something. But you are sure that
One
in this
day.
life, you are not exiting this life alive. You must die.
Yeah, and that means we need to use our time wisely.
Definitely.
Young people, mumesikia, you go for the seats. Ken is doing it, and so yeah, that's the message.
Yeah, when the right time comes, we will be on the ballot, because for the longest time we've been told to go and register and vote others. So this time around, we are also registering, not just to vote others, but also to vote our colleagues and ourselves as well. I want to go to the polling station and have the privilege and the opportunity to tick on Ken Babu, because I believe that I can also offer leadership to this country in the reference and focus of the future. Yeah.
Now, as we close, Senator, maybe a word for the viewers from home.
Thank you so much, viewers. First, I would like to say that subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe, click the button, and follow us closely as we keep having these conversations and engaging with Kenyans, enlightening and talking about. In fact, I think from next week we can organize something. We need to break down the campaign financing, because this is what's going to stop young people from contesting.
Yes.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to say much. My name is Ken Babu, like you mentioned, and I'll be on the ballot. That one is clear as black and white.
Yes.
I'll be on the ballot, and I want to invite all young people who believes that they can offer alternative leadership to this country to prepare yourselves to be on the ballot and join political parties and argue your issues from inside. Thank you.
Well, that's it, guys. You heard it from my good friend, Senator Ken Babu. And I can promise you this won't be the last time you're seeing him. He'll be coming down here for us to have a chit-chat. And there'll be many more leaders who will be having a sit-down with. Since you guys requested, it's our job to make it happen. Now with that...
Right now, I'm with my team headed to a client's house in Ruiru for consultation. That is to take measurements of the windows, go through our catalog with the client, and then once they decide on the color and the fabric they want, we'll get busy sewing, and at long last, the curtains installation will be on us. So if you're looking for curtains, shears, curtain rods, curtain accessories, reach out to Phoenix Curtains and Interior Decor, and we will sort you out. Call us on 0724 414153.
If you're in need of electrical wiring, solar installation, or electrical fittings such as strip lights, snake lights, downlighters, or chandeliers, contact Engineer Wycliffe at 0707 476602 and he'll get your house dapped up.
If you guys are here for the first time, please go on and hit the subscribe button. And if you're watching for a different platform, just head on over to YouTube, search for David Wafula. Hit the subscribe button. You're going to be getting a ton of content of this nature. If politics is something you're passionate about, this is definitely the one channel that you really, really need to subscribe to. All right, guys, adios. Thank you for choosing David Wafula as your primary news platform. We put countless hours in research, recording, and editing. By showing up each and every day to watch our videos, you encourage us to generate more videos for the viewers. We are on a mission to inform, educate, and build a better tomorrow. To our thousands of followers in a world full of presidents, kings, and queens, you are the real gem. Adios.